through the renewal of mind and reconfiguration of our thoughts that we are able to position ourselves to receive all the blessings that God has set aside for us. For it is not us who are waiting for the blessing, but rather the blessing that is waiting for us to be in the right frame of mind to receive it. I hear a clarion call. It's time to rise and shine. Time to get what's mine. Yeah.
Gai family, and welcome to another special message from the Ancient Ones. My name is Dr. Mumbi. How you doing? How's everything going? I really do pray, family, that you are well in all your ways and that you're moving into living life in the new earth, that you're anchoring into a whole new story for yourself, a whole new book of life for yourself, a whole new narrative. And I really hope, family, that you have not looped and gone back around into the old storyline, because that is what Babylon is trying so hard. They're trying to keep you in their story, which is dead and gone. It's just the residue of people's minds that is making you feel that Babylon may have the power that it no longer has. You can already see it if you learn to look with this first eye to really see what's going on, family. You'll see very clearly that Babylon is no longer in control. You know, it's so interesting because, oh, wow, I don't know if this is something I should, and let me not share that at this point in time. Okay, I can say that since the year 2000, family, the global order actually fell from the New World Order, and it came back to Mount Zion and the Agikoyo nation. And that is what has been that. So the great, since that transfer, the retransfer of power, that's why we've seen this great war, because the war has been going on in earnest, family. And it actually keeps increasing in momentum as the great evil one, whatever you want to call him, falls. But those are definitely stories for other days. Special shout out to our Patreon family. Thank you so much for supporting us on that platform. Definitely consider supporting us there, family, for exclusive daily content. And, you know, the message today, family, this is like for the elite chosen ones. I know I did a special message for the elite chosen ones maybe a year ago. There was a message that came through from the Ancient Ones. And today they want to tell us that we are not alone. That's the message I've been getting in my meditation, is that we are not alone, and it's so much deeper than what you think that statement means, family. Because a lot of us are literally have the force and the power of gods and goddesses. And what had happened with the Babylon system, why they were able to run things so long, is because they had assistance on the fourth dimension, which is the dimension of time. And so they were able to lock all the stargates on the dimension of time and distort time, so that a lot of ancient ones, a lot of messiahs, a lot of the gods and goddesses who were here to come to the rescue couldn't quite come in, because there was such a distortion of the gates and the timelines of when to come in. So a lot of the elite chosen ones, who are the messiahs of this age, who are the restorers, the creators of the new dawn, the way showers, the star children, whatever you want to call us, family. We literally had to sneak into this world with like half our armor, because we looked at all the potential timelines. Because you see, the way time works, time is a series of choices. They try to make you think time goes at you from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5. No, time is choice. You make a choice, you move to the next step. You make a choice, you move to... That's what's moving, not time. Time is a mental... That's the prison that they have us in. And that's the distortion that they've created, family. And so a lot of us had to come into this time. We kind of looked at all the emerging timelines and the probabilities and what would happen if our energy entered the wavelengths, and when this season of awakening would happen. And then we timed that to come in. But we had to come in during a very, very dark time when it was extremely dangerous, and many enlightened beings chose not to do it. Many enlightened beings were just not willing. It took the highest of the high, family. The most, that's what you call elite chosen ones. The warrior nations are the ones who had to step forward. Because this was not a job for the teachers. This was not a job for the preachers. This was a job for the warrior kings and queens. The warrior kings and queens had to come personally. And so they had to enter this world. And already, because they'd mapped the world, and they were looking for these chosen ones. And we have a different signature. They were literally able, and they knew we'd be trying to come in during certain master number stargates. So people like the Roman Catholic Church created their churches and parishes in the middle of freaking nowhere in Africa, not to convert the people, but to look for and divert these special chosen ones. That's what it was always about, family. And so they saw a lot of us entering, and they tried everything. A lot of us were sexually abused, emotionally abused. The sexual abuse was to close the Stargate so that you're disconnected from where you've come from, thinking that now you're disconnected from your power. It was all about creating trauma in you, so much so that you could never anchor in who you really were. Like they'd throw you out of yourself, because a lot of us were also are highly evolved beings. And so when the trauma happened, our body went to such a low level that only a fragment of ourselves, family, could be in those beings, which is why we always felt so empty and so lost and so disoriented, and they were able to so-called take advantage of us. But we were the warrior nations that came through, family. And we didn't, we came with what was necessary to survive till now, till the awakening, till the activation. And in the last 3 to 5 years, a lot of us have gone through our own very personal teachings, very personal initiation process, very, very personal awakening process, family. Very, very, we've had the highest level teachers manifesting as spiritual beings, which is why we had to be isolated, which is why we had to drop literally our previous lives, so many friends, because it was time for us now to come into wholesomeness, to fully anchor in. And there's been a lot of healing in the last 5 years, a lot of healing of our bloodlines, of our own narratives, so that we can now reconnect to the higher realms and start to really work some quote unquote magic, family. I think that's a perfect place to take a short break, family. This show is actually sponsored by Michael Simmons, who is a spiritual guide to many of our people. And he has decided to step forward and kind of, expand his services to those who may be ready for some spiritual guidance, because this is that time, family, when you are transitioning from who you once were to who you were always meant to be. Let's definitely tune into his story. We'll be right back.
My name is Irving Michael Simmons. I'm 41 years old. I've lived in Texas pretty much my whole life. I've just been the kind of person that just love to help people. I've been that way since I was a kid. I just love helping people. But it's been more focused on this end of working spiritually with people, just trying to help them on their life's journey. work with young men that were, they were at the age they were becoming young men themselves, where they were getting ready to leave the home and looking for a stable family structure. They used me as a guideline, and I just coached and guided them. I would even speak to their mothers and fathers sometimes about, what was going on. It's just been something that I do.
Welcome back, family, to a special message from the Ancient Ones. My name is Dr. Mumbi Saraki. How you doing? How's everything going? Yes! No more head wraps, family. Wow! The worst is over. The war is over. Because I used to wear it to cover my crown chakra. There's been so much attack on us, family, to prevent us from being in the 5D reality. And I am reporting live and direct, family, from the Dr. Mumbi Wholesome Center, Healing Center. I'm still trying to figure out a name, actually. Because it is time for new beginnings. It is time for us to move in magical and wondrous ways and to really share the gifts, the real gifts, not just this gift of talking, but the real gifts. And, special shout out to Michael Simmons for sponsoring this show. Family, you can definitely reach out to him in the contacts below. And, if you need spiritual guidance in this season. And family, this message is for the elite chosen ones. You know yourself. And the way you'll know this message is for you is because it will deeply, deeply resonate. And, so much has been done to get us here. And I started off the message by saying we are not alone. And I was kind of giving you the background of how we had to come into this reality stealth mode because we are the ones who they were trying to block from coming, because they knew once we came back, everything changed forever and they would totally lose control, which they have lost control now. And so a lot of us had to come, and then they lowered the vibration so much, family, with the daily sacrifices. I mean, if you could see how many children, how many fetuses are sacrificed every day just to keep the vibration on a certain level and to keep certain gods like the god Moloch in charge, family, the god of the Canaanites, who was all about child sacrifice. So much has been done to keep the vibration so low, to prevent high vibrational beings coming in their true power. And so what happened, family, is a lot of us have a council with us. That's why for me, since the beginning, I've been talking so much about your spiritual team and connecting with your spiritual team, because a lot of us, we're part of that spiritual team. We're not here alone. We're the ones who came physically. We're the representative of a larger collective that is here to do mighty works. And many of us were picked because we were the ones who were versatile and strong enough to handle the spiritual energy, not just of ourselves, but of mighty beings who will want to work through us to restore the world, because they trust us, because they trust the collective we're part of. When they talk about gods and deities walking on this earth, what they really mean, family, is that they came through a body, and possession is the wrong word, but they embodied that body. And through a partnership with the spirit of that body, they literally were able to quicken themselves, become gurus, become messiahs, become saints, build pyramids with their minds, with sound technology, and do all kinds of other amazing things, family. And in past times, these gods and these deities would actually manifest and they would walk amongst men, but it became It reached a level where they couldn't. And so they had to literally come through mediums to perform the great works. And now it's like the gods and the deities who are with us. We honor the ancestors and the ancient ones in the wind. Wherever we are, the wind is always with us, family. But what has happened now in this season is that the deities and the gods sent a fragment of themselves into this reality and then created, like, I'm really trying to see how to put this, created a council or a spiritual team that is now here to enable you, to hand you your gifts, to hand you your capabilities. It was too dangerous for us to be incarnated as full gods, as full goddesses. We had to come in hidden amongst men, confused that we too were men. And our gifts were the highest, most coveted thing, family. Not so much because we can heal and we can resurrect as elite chosen one. You can bring someone back from the dead. You can call them back from the underworld, family. There are so many things you can do that are kawaida, as we would say here in Kenya, or normal, that many people would find spooky or weird, or like miraculous or Messiah-like. Some are going to reach the point where through song, they can literally restore and grow a forest, family. These are the kind of beings that some of you are that are walking amongst us. Some are just hidden generals, doing their thing out of the matrix. But for us who are connecting through this system, there's also a reason why we were brought through this system and why we will connect our powers to create the superpower. As I told you, the Africa Mastermind is already back online. Stories for other days. And so, family, you are not working alone. So don't place limitations on yourself. You have come in with a highest level spiritual team who you have reincarnated with many, many lifetimes. And they had to come in and protect your gifts, but most importantly, protect the gates. Because what Babylon wanted access to was your essence, was your energy. Because was your ranking. What a lot of your family members and a lot of the elites and these covens and witches wanted was your ranking, so they could cloak themselves in your ranking and penetrate other worlds. And that has not gone well for them because they seem to think that they're the smartest in the universe. It's absolutely bizarre. But everything is intact and it's been held by your spiritual team. There are also deities, mighty healers, mighty gods and goddesses, mighty creators in some of your spiritual team, family, who will manifest through you to do mighty works because you are trusted, because you are known. Because some of the powers that some of us are going to be moving in could only be entrusted, not to even someone who is pious, who is spiritual, who is this, who is that, but who is known to the bloodlines, who is ancient to the bloodlines. And so knowing that you are not alone, family, I think I may even have to do a part 2 of this. Knowing that you are not alone should make you know, like, it's not just me. It's not just Dr. Mumbi who's out here changing the world. I'm moving with a mighty, highly skilled spiritual team, which means I am not limited in any capability. If the world requires me to walk through a wall, or if circumstance requires me to walk through a concrete wall, there is someone in my elite spiritual team who has the knowledge of how I can do that. And so you are beyond yourself at this time. And from here on out, You will be operating like a multitude of men. I've already told you, family, there are people right now who are walking this earth who have the influence, not even just this thing that you see on social media, they're mimicking this as well, but to have the spiritual influence of 1 billion people. They sit in their, Zen position and they manifest something, and it will manifest because they are the authority. Because something that many people don't know is that when you walk into a room, or whatever room you're in, whatever environment you're in, the atmosphere always yields to the person with the highest spiritual power. Before, the atmosphere used to yield to the negative ones because their power was, and they were operating on this false negative power. So they appeared to be the most powerful. But now, there are those who have done the work, who have reached such high levels of mental overstanding that they are now the ones who enter a room and shift the atmosphere. And it's funny, family, the final thing I'll say about gates, there's a lot I've said in this show, so I think I'm just going to close out. But the final thing I'll say about the gates that were closed is I had the honor of celebrating the birthday of a dear friend, Ras Benji, Happy Earth Strong. And he told me something so profound about how the gates are actually gates to understanding within our mind. And every time you go through a gate, you go through a new understanding and you expand your mind, which expands your reality. And that blew me away, family. Because it means that the gates that Babylon has always been trying to penetrate and get a hold of was the secret knowledge that was taught in the mystic schools of Isis, that was held by our ancient ones, that they've never been able to access. And they always wanted to control those gates of knowledge so that they could control reality. But now those gates are being opened because we have come into ourselves, and there is so much spiritual and angelic protection around us at this time. But there is also a lot of responsibility on our shoulders. If this resonated with you, it is absolutely critical that you keep your vibe up as much as possible, family. That you remain focused and balanced and diligently pursue your new beginning like your life depends on it, because the life of humanity does depend on it, family. Be very, very, very careful with how you direct your negative energy. You don't have to turn the other cheek. That's no longer the season, but be very wise in how you yield the immense power that you're carrying. We honor the special ancestors and these ancient ones for always coming through, for sharing their messages with us, knowing that soon we will be united and reunited with them. Many of us are already reunited with them in spirit. But within our lifetimes, family, we will see the ancient ones with these two eyes. But those are stories for other days. Tuko pamoja.
Hear a clarion call. It's time to rise and shine. Time to get what's mine. Yeah. And I want it all. Beyond the riches of the world, to the promises of God for my life.